How territories work inside E2. Earth 2 governance system. This system has been designed to place some power into the player's hands initially with the ability to vote and determine the release of territories, and later expanding to include other matters or issues over time. Such matters may include, but are not limited to, choosing a leader or group of leaders for a territory, deciding on a set of rules or boundaries within their territory, setting up trade arrangements, declaring independence, and a number of other interesting possibilities that will emerge. Additionally, the governance system brings new utility for Essence, adding to a growing list of uses for Essence inside Earth 2 that will only continue to expand over time. The governance system will continue to evolve, but for now we invite players to vote with their Essence and/or tiles to familiarize themselves with how the system works. Please remember, if you vote with Essence, it will be locked up in the vote until that territory is released. Submitting a territory for voting. Territories become available for voting when they are first submitted by a player by pledging Essence or tiles they own. The tiles must come from the same country as the territory they are submitting if they choose to submit the territory with a tile vote. When a player submits a territory, they will pledge Essence and/or land, which counts as the first vote towards the territory's release. It is extremely important to note that the Essence or tiles pledged to the territory will remain locked until the territory is released. How to vote for a territory release. Once a territory is successfully submitted, other players will be able to see the newly submitted territory and decide whether they wish to vote for its release. When voting on a territory, players have the additional option to vote on the exact time of day they want the release to take place, allowing them to choose the time of day that is most convenient for them. The votes for time of day release are also aggregated, and the time of day with the most votes will determine the exact time the territory is released on its release day. Voting with Essence allows anyone with Essence to vote on a territory release. One Essence is equivalent to one vote, and players are able to pledge as many Essence votes to a territory. Voting with tiles allows players who own properties in the relevant country where the territory exists to pledge their T1 and T2 tiles as votes towards that territory's release. Players are free to select the number of available tiles they wish to pledge. This voting option allows those who may not necessarily have enough Essence to vote to still be able to push for territories to be released in the country they own tiles in. Tiles also have stronger voting power compared to Essence. One T1 tile is equivalent to 10 votes, and one T2 tile is equivalent to 5 votes. Any Essence and/or tiles that are pledged towards a territory will remain locked until after the territory is released. It is important to note that while voting allows players to choose which territories will be released first, the territories with the most votes at the end of each territory lock period will be queued for release, while the remaining submitted territories retain their votes leading up to the end of the next lock period. Given the thousands of territories that could be released, players should be aware that any pledged Essence and land may potentially remain locked for many years. The pledged Essence will thereby be locked from gameplay and trading. So please remember, participating in territory voting is completely optional, and it is always up to the individual player to decide whether participating makes sense and is appropriate for them. Please carefully consider the length of time your pledged assets could potentially be locked for before deciding to participate. With that in mind, pledged tiles will function normally when pledged, so utility like raiding is still possible from properties with tiles pledged in territory voting. Territory release. Territories are scheduled for release based on the winning territory at the end of each lock period. Initially, the locks and releases will occur over several days, but over time these may increase to every 24 hours, and the territory with the highest votes will be accepted and locked as the winner, then scheduled for release in the queue after the release of the previous territory winner. There is no set number of votes that is required, only that a territory must have the most votes out of all the other territories in order to be crowned the winner. This will continue on with a new winner being determined every several days, until the frequency of deciding winners is changed or all territories are released. Once a territory is released, the Essence and tiles locked to that territory will also be released soon after. Players should be aware that the unlocking of Essence and tiles will occur after the territory is released, not when it is locked in and scheduled for release, crowned the daily winner. To easily differentiate which territories are scheduled for release and which are available for voting, the New Territories page displays these sections clearly. The Territories section at the very top of the page shows the locked territories which have successfully passed the voting round and will show countdown timers to their actual release dates. The upcoming Territories section shows the territories which are still available to vote on. This section is also customizable to display the most relevant information in territories, with toggles to display all your votes Display voting numbers based on number of votes or voting asset quantity, Essence T1, T2. And filters displaying territories voted by you or territories released to date. Payment UI update. In addition to the 3 major feature releases of Boosted Ether territories and Tier 3 land, and the pilot Earth 2 governance system, there have also been UI updates to the payment interface when purchasing tiles. This latest update involves a full transition of the payment interface to our signature dark mode and overall makes it easier for players to identify details of the property they were purchasing, number of tiles, tier of tiles, etc. The payment methods available to them, and just looks cool.